Another advantage of the design of our machines is something that you will notice, and everyone always questions, why is your machine conical in shape and everyone else's is cylindrical in shape? Well, there are actually two reasons for it, but the primary reason is that before we started building fluid beds, we went out and we did our marketing survey from companies that used fluid beds and asked them what their common problems were. One of the common problems is that the filters become clogged, shuts your airflow down, elongates your drying time, and makes for poor uniformity in the drying of the product. So what we have done, if you can envision this very simply, if you were to think of a pipe that has the same diameter opening on the top and the bottom, and you put air through that pipe, the velocity is going to be roughly equal at the bottom and at the top. What we have done is opened up. We have opened up one end of the pipe to slow the velocity of the air. So what we're representing here is that at 100% velocity, you see it drops down to 25% when your particle reaches terminal velocity before it gets to the filters. So our airflow is much better controlled. You have fewer of the need to shake the bags or to pulse the cartridges because of that conical shape. A second advantage is that by virtue of the lower profile of this machine, oftentimes customers, particularly customers that are working in older buildings, they don't have that height in order to install the larger machines. Well, our machine is a smaller profile, so we can usually fit this in a 12-foot, I'm using feet rather than meters, I'm sorry, but we use a 12-foot ceiling height to put our machines in. And we also make them now that they don't need explosion vents. We can suppress explosion within the vessel itself rather than have to put a hole through the roof or put a hole through the side of the factory in order to make it safe for operation. Okay, this is a significant improvement in fluid bed technology. One of the strong criticisms that came back to us over our survey involving the use of fluid beds is that lumps and clumps developed in the bowl which the air bypassed, and we were not able to dry the moisture out of those lumps and clumps. And we had dead spots in the bowl where the air bypassed. And those of you that are familiar with fluid beds have probably recalled there are occasions where a product has a tendency to want to ball up or form big boulders, for lack of another term, in one section of the bowl or another. So you start your drying, and after about a half an hour, you have to drop the bowl down. And someone goes in with a rake and rakes to break up those clumps and lumps and to separate the good and dry product from the moist product, put it back in the machine and start over again. Well, with our machines, you don't have to do that, because what we've done is we've put a hydraulically driven agitator rake in the bottom of the bowl. So, again, the need to drop the bowl, expose the product is no longer there, because we can turn the agitator on, we can turn that agitator, break up those dead spots, break up those boulders, and give you a much more uniformly dried product in a shorter period of time. And as far as I know, we're the only company that builds our machines with this hydraulically driven agitator in the bowl. Years ago, Aromatic used to have one that was pneumatically driven, but a pneumatically driven agitator is not going to have the torque to overcome some of the resistance that it finds with the wet product in the bowl. We make spray systems, obviously, spray nozzles. We use our Watson-Marlow pumps. We can also use gear-driven pumps, but generally speaking, we will use Watson-Marlows, or we'll use pressure containers for liquid delivery. And you're looking at the top, or from the bottom anyway, what we call our chandelier design for liquid delivery, and that sits at the top of the fluid bed expansion chamber, and rather than have a cluster for the delivery of drug, which has a tendency to create a banding problem and over spraying, we use the chandelier design to give you better coverage of the entire surface of your bowl for fluid bed granulating. We offer a number of different filter options. We have a one-piece filter bag, and those of you that are familiar with the older style filter bags, most of them were about this size. Well, ours extends down the entire length of the expansion chamber, and we do that for a reason, and that is with the need for top spray agglomerating. If your product becomes wet and it is sticky, it will adhere to the stainless steel wall of your expansion chamber. With our machine, we have the filter bag that extends the entire length of the vessel, so that process is not going to occur. And when you dry your product out, most of it will fall back into the batch and it will be usable. So your yields are going to be higher. And we draw air through the side as well as through the top of the filter bag. Also, what has become very popular over the last 10 years or so are cartridge filters. Sometimes companies that are working with high volume products that they're few in number, the cartridge filter is an ideal answer to the need for filtration in the system, because you probably double or triple the airflow that goes through your system, making it more efficient. These cartridge filters are reversed pulsed during the process, and this is particularly important when you're fluid bed granulating and when you're Worcester coating. So if you come over to the exhibit this afternoon, we'll show you what these cartridge filters look like, because we have a version of them mounted in our small fluid bed that is on display at our exhibit. Ideal from the standpoint that you're not having to clean a filter bag. The filter bag requires extensive cleaning, and it is really the Achilles heel of the fluid bed system, because they tear and they have to be cleaned properly, and if they're not installed properly, you have problems with them. So we usually will work with our customer to decide what is the best filtration system for them. And if neither the bag or the cartridge are satisfactory, we can give them both. We can give them the filter bag with the cartridges mounted in it. And someone might ask, well, why would you do that? Well, we would do that if we're working with a customer that is using top spray granulating products that, again, want to keep that product from building up on the wall of the expansion chamber. So we are a technically driven company, and we don't come to you and tell you this is what you're going to have. We will listen to what your product mix is and find out what some of the problems are that you've been experiencing before we recommend a course of action with an option like a filter option for your fluid bed. Okay, what we're showing here are portable machines, and I mentioned to you about the portable high shear mixer, and this looks like it is a monster, but really you'll see there are hinges here, and we build these with 5-liter bowl, 20-liter bowl, all the way up to a 70-liter bowl. I am not familiar with anyone on the market with a 70-liter portable machine that can basically make a batch size of around 35 kilos. And what we've done here is this hinged expansion chamber can be undone, and the top of the machine folds over. So this can be rolled under a standard door jamb, meaning you can take this machine, you can plug it in, you can add compressed air, and you could connect some type of an exhaust system to a hood, and you can put it in any room that you have available. And when you're not using it, then you can store it. It's also automated. We have batch architect controls on it so that you can do data logging, you can use recipes, you can basically do all of your pilot scale-up features on this machine, and it is portable. You don't have to bolt it to the floor. Very popular machine.